Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm meteorologist Lee Southwick, joined by meteorologist Tim Deegan. Happy Wednesday, Tim.
Happy Wednesday. It's the hump. Is it the feel-good middle of the week? Do you feel the pull of the weekend? Beach always helps that.
Yeah, it does. That's where we would rather be, I'm sure. I can speak for you, too, when I say
Yes.
I would rather be right there.
Yes, love forecasting the weather, but to be out in it, especially there, you can almost tell the ocean's beginning to warm up.
Just a bit. Oh, it looks so beautiful, so lovely. You know what? I'm not here to brag, but I will say it actually is my weekend starting after this.
Yes, you
So I'm
deserve
off
it.
Thursdays and Fridays.
Yeah,
so.
you deserve it. Well, and as you know, just about 5 to 7 miles south of that picture is the Players. So whereas that particular shot of Jack's Beach not too crowded, the Players a very different story. And today was just Wednesday. I mean, I was talking to some locals who've been here for decades, and they normally start, for instance, they live around the Players. Mm-hmm. And so they normally start, as far as the morning, making sure they don't have things scheduled and or change their plans starting Thursday. Well, they said they should have done it this morning. They said this morning was just crazy. Now, the Players has added something this week, right, for Wednesday.
Oh, yes, the Creator Classic.
Yes, the Creator Class. And aren't they like, you would know this better than me, like they're influencers on the sort of the Golf E-circuit or so?
Pretty
right?
much. I know our own Lewis Turner got to interview one of the guys from No Laying Up, which is like a golf podcast. I hope I'm saying that right.
Well,
but, you know.
What I've heard is
cool.
their audience showed up this morning. That
Wow.
it was like a weekend out there is what I heard.
Wow, and you know, the Creator Classic didn't actually start till around 4 p.m. So everyone who's out there early, real fanatics. You know, I was out there yesterday with the Military Appreciation Day, and I know people who went to the concert and then said they were stuck in the parking lot leaving for longer than the concert actually was. So very busy. Lots going on this week. Not only that, but we have a total lunar eclipse to talk about too.
An eclipse of the moon.
Yes.
And you did your homework on this, so take it away, Lee. Tell us some details. So it's going to be Thursday night / Friday morning, right?
Yes.
So we're basically one night away from this event.
So technically, you know, it all falls on Friday morning, but I thought Thursday night for us, you know, night owls too.
Yes,
We would consider this
109 is,
tomorrow
yeah.
night.
Yeah, that's...
So the partial eclipse starts at 109. So that's not when the moon goes red yet, but that's when it looks like a bite is taken out of the moon. But when does it turn red? That happens with the total eclipse, and that's why it's also called a blood moon. The March full moon is the worm moon, but you'll hear this one referred to as the blood moon because it's red because of this eclipse. So that starts at 2:26 a.m. It peaks at 2:58 a.m., but you can still catch that reddish glow, that tint, until about 3:31 a.m. Friday morning. And then after that, the red color disappears, but it'll still like that bite is taken out of the moon. You still have a partial eclipse until about 4:47 a.m.
So I'm trying to think this through, Lee. So because moon rise is going to be at about a sunset, so it should pretty much be straight overhead or headed toward the western sky, right?
I believe so, yes.
okay.
And so it should be, you know, what time do you normally wake up in the morning? I know you're an early riser.
4:45 to 5, but
Okay.
maybe I'll get up earlier. However, as you know, meteorologically speaking, I'm a little concerned
Okay. Yes.
because
with
we
the
do have that
forecast.
shortwave coming over, and so whereas last night or tonight would be perfect
It would.
as far as clear, hopefully these clouds. But anyhow, so UNF's going to help folks out, right?
Right, they're going to try to have they will have a viewing event. Hopefully, even if there's clouds, they have, I don't know, telescopes, some good stuff to view it with. That's going to be out at UNF. But as mentioned there at 12 a.m., I even put isolated shower ? There, because as you mentioned, we're going to be watching that little system. And so it could bring some cloud cover. As of this morning and early afternoon, the graph model, which is a high resolution near-term model, showed us clearing out after midnight and showed those skies clearing. So I did a little, it's almost wish casting and got rid of some of those clouds.
Sure.
But as you can speak to, Tim, there is the possibility that we could have some showers around and some cloud cover around.
Well, I guess one of the nice things about looking at the moon versus if it's like a sky gazing night for planets is that with it relatively bright and low, typically the high clouds don't obscure it as much as as the low clouds, and so maybe the low clouds will be out of there. But anyhow, it's anything else about the total lunar eclipse? I mean, so it's going to go 100%.
Yes, yep,
Okay.
full moon, 100%. So it'll be blood red, especially around 3 a.m. UNF busy this week, because not only do they have this event, but they have on Saturday the Bob Hayes Invitational that you were talking about.
Yeah, this is huge, especially for people who follow up-and-coming sprinters. Of course, started after Bob Hayes left, but in Bob Hayes' name. It's been going on here in Northeast Florida for decades. Typically has been up in the Ribault area. They're redoing their track, and so it's going to be at UNF, which is known as having a fantastic and fast track. But it's pretty much for middle schoolers and high schoolers. So it's really so the next, of course, these are I guess actually young athletes that could have college scholarships in their future. But I'm also thinking, I mean, this is some of these young athletes who win. Keep them in mind, because those are the people we see then in track and field in the Olympics the next time or the time after that around. So the 2028 Olympics in LA. I mean, I've been told by coaches that don't be surprised if you look at some of the names of some of the tracksters on Saturday. And then watch names in 2028 in LA, you're going to see some names there. I mean, that's how good it is.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And, then I, of course, have the hope that some of them become Gators, too, and run for UF. We have a great track team.
I have been told also by coaches that, and that's why I mentioned college scholarships, is that there will be, at least around the Southeast, college coaches from all over the place, starting to develop those nice relationships. So I would bet money some are going to be Gators.
Yes.
I'm going to be there as well. I can't do anything officially, but I'm hoping we can get a few to Bryan College Station as well, since you
Okay.
brought it up.
Since I'm the one who started this, so that's fair. Well, hey, the weather looks pretty good that day. I mean, we're going to get warmer for those
Yep.
inland spots. We're going to be getting into the 80s. At the Players, let's go there now, too, because as we mentioned, lots of events going on. We talked about the Players at the start. Not quite into the 80s on Saturday, likely holding in the 70s.
Yes, I think the main point there on Saturday, especially for watching the golfers, will be as the wind picks up during the afternoon. So for those who have early tee times, that may actually help them, because for those who have late tee times, who obviously those are the ones with the best scores coming up to Saturday, they're going to have much windier conditions. And although these players are great, it's always very interesting to me on how different the scores can be if you're relatively calm in the morning and then the winds pick up during the afternoon, because as you know, Lee, that wind is going to increase both because of the isobaric squeeze, but also because then as inland temperatures go up to the 80s, ocean temperatures still in the lower 60s, that's going to have quite the enhanced sea breeze. So the 17th will be interesting for those who watch it to see if the balls are going to actually go in the water or make it to the green, but really the whole course. So just from a sort of fan's point of view, it's not typically a windy afternoon. Doesn't necessarily mean great scores, but it does make for some pretty exciting, watching of the whole golf event.
But also heads up to everyone who's going to the event, because it's windy. Keep in mind hats. Hold on to your hats. And ladies, maybe avoid the dresses or the flowy skirts, because as you know, everyone tries to dress their best
Yes.
when they go to the Players. And
Great point. Yes.
This is definitely more shorts weather that you don't want to deal
I
with
think
that.
that's a great point. And for those who have the choice between Saturday and Sunday, but maybe you can only go one day and you want the guaranteed dry day, hopefully we're making the point with those graphics that Saturday is the day you want to go. I know a lot of folks like to go Sunday to see who the champion is going to be, and I'm not saying don't go, but looks like we're going to have, at the very least, Lee, wouldn't you agree that we will be at the, if you just care about the Players, we will be watching storms in our western counties of what we call the First Coast heading toward the Players, right?
Yes, absolutely. We can guarantee at some point during the day Saturday that it will rain, but is that after sunset? Is that when the Players are done?
Okay,
We're
you
still
said,
trying to
I think you said
fine-tune.
Saturday, you mean Sunday.
Oh, Sunday, excuse me.
Yes.
Thank you for catching that.
okay.
So yes, Sunday. So if you are going, like Tim said, don't cancel your plans. You should
No.
go. But as we talked about earlier, it's good for people to be aware that there could be maybe a lightning plan in place. Does it wrap up early? Stuff like that. So it's just something to watch.
And something else I want to say, Lee, and this was reinforced by Robert Story because he interviewed their professional meteorologist. And the tour, they were the first ones 20 years ago to have lightning detectors. And there's no doubt in my mind, because the tour started and other courses followed suit, it has saved a lot of lives. Up until 20 years ago, if you broke down the demographics as far as which demographic, well, I'll say it, were killed most by lightning, it was golfers who are on the green. And boaters high on that list, construction workers high on that list, but golfers on the green were the demographic with the highest risk of being hit by lightning, right? But it ended up a lot of fatalities. Over that 20-year period, golfing is no longer, I don't think, even in the top 5. And there's no doubt in my mind it's because of that. But the other point I wanted to make was that, and we found this out from Robert, but they now have a whole new generation. The old, for people like me, it was a triangulation. And that is, when the lightning hit, there was a system called LPAT, and through triangulation, it could see exactly where that bolt was, and then they would go from there. But you still needed that first bolt, whereas the indicator they now have picks up charges. And so my point being, they might call the players even before a drop of rain hits, because their big concern is that first lightning strike, not the rain. So that's why we don't know exactly how it's going to pan out. But let's say it's 5 o'clock and you're at the players and you're thinking, 2 more hours, maybe the final grouping will get in. Remember, they're not going to wait for the rain. If they see lightning within probably an hour of the players, they're going to call it. So keep that in mind.
I'm totally going off script here. I'm just wondering if is that the system that they use at the beaches here too? We get the lightning
Yes,
alarms?
I believe it is. It's going off of charges. I'm sure with it being the players, if there's such a thing as the best system or the newest system, I'm sure they have it. But yeah, it's pretty much that whole new generation, which to me is just amazing that they can do that. It is amazing,
and thank goodness for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see here we're staying in the 70s, low to middle 70s, Thursday and Friday, and then pushing upper 70s over the weekend. But that's for TPC Sawgrass. Inland spots will be a bit warmer. So Thursday, 78 degrees for our high. We're going to the upper 70s, some morning clouds, and then there could be some isolated showers, Tim, mainly southeast Georgia on Thursday. Not a washout of a day.
No, and I mean, the latest I've seen, Lee, is that places like maybe Waycross, maybe as far to the south as Lake City, if they get some showers, there'll probably be thunderstorms earlier in the day west of them and then weakening. So I'm thinking even there, whether it's play or you got to get some outdoor work done, I don't think they'll be impacted till maybe after 4 or 5.
And then from there, we hope that it hurries up and gets out of here for the eclipse that night.
The lunar eclipse.
So then we move into Friday, and it will be clearing out and just some clouds around on Friday.
Yeah. Notice with each morning, the morning lows are warming, so that means there's more moisture in the air, so that by the time we make it to the weekend, most of us probably won't even drop below the 60-degree mark.
Nice. All right, so let's move on then to Saturday.
There it is.
Gonna get up,
Warmer and windy.
Near 60 in the morning, and then into the 80s in the afternoon. And there's winds, as we've been talking about, really picking up on Saturday. And then Sunday, that's when we'll watch for those storms to approach from the west.
So a little pressure on you, Lee. So, folks, if you really want it nailed down, Lee is on Saturday night. And I say that because the squall line that we're going to be watching potentially, so it should really explode Friday evening out around the Arklatex. And then how that advances and evolves will pretty much define what happens on Sunday. So Lee will have a pretty good idea. There's one other thing I'm going to mention about that, Lee, and that really is to folks let you know that Lee has a tough gig, because at least, Lee, the way I see this evolving is that first squall line that erupts over the Arklatex, it'll mature and be well organized through, I think, late Saturday or early Sunday morning. But then it looks like a ridge is going to build over us, and a lot of that energy races northeast, and that weakening part maybe heads in toward the Swanee and the Okefenokee. But I don't think that's going to be the main line. I think then that's going to race to the north and east, and it's what's going to form behind it. And so I think that's why that's going to be your tough challenge, I think, Saturday night, is trying to figure out. In other words, I think what I'm trying to give you credit for is that it's not like, I don't think on Saturday night you're going to be able to look at the line that's going to hit the players Sunday evening, right?
Right.
You're going to try to figure out, okay, what's the one after that line going to do? So So I'll be sending you positive vibes, okay?
Thank you. You can come in if you want.
I'll be sending you positive vibes.
Okay, sorry. And so just something interesting about the system that's coming in on Sunday. The Storm Prediction Center has already been highlighting parts of our area under the risk of severe weather several days out.
Yeah, they had this out like yesterday morning, maybe?
Yes, yeah. Yesterday. I know it was definitely yesterday. I'm trying to remember if it was 2 days ago, too. I can't really remember.
Yeah, but way early for us when you
Definitely.
consider that we're, like we said, the event won't even blow up until Friday evening. In fact, the energy producing this is still on the West Coast.
So that just means that all the, they are like us, are seeing some ingredients in the atmosphere out ahead, when we look at our models and the way that the environment's going to set up, that you could get some stronger storms, damaging wind gusts, 58 plus miles an hour, hail. Now, the National Weather Service here in Jacksonville is specifically mentioning large hail. And we'll also watch out for the possibility of a brief spin-up tornado. So this is, again, second half of Sunday.
And just as a reminder, and this is not us saying it's going to happen, folks, but remember, Severe Storms Forecast Office, they're like the National Hurricane Center of forecasting. They're I think, Lee, beyond the country's experts, they're the world experts when it comes to this stuff.
Yes.
And with that said, although they were expecting some isolated severe storms, they did not actually have a tornado watch out for the other morning,
right?
When then mid-morning a tornado popped up and crossed I-4, destroyed one home, caused a lot of damage elsewhere. So just as that is not me being critical of the Severe Storms Forecast Office. That's me saying that when we say any severe thunderstorm is capable of a brief tornado, and maybe it just destroys one or two homes, but if it's your home, that's a big deal.
Right.
Anyhow.
And one last thing, too, about this. So usually when we're 3 days out, we know we have all 5 categories: marginal, slight, so on and so forth, level 1, level 2. When we are beyond that, they will only issue ahead of time starting at level 2 slight. So what we see here in yellow, that's a level 2 risk. Then there's nothing under it. When we get within that 3-day range, we will likely see the green highlight below. It's going to extend over a bigger portion of the first coast for that level 1 threat. So if you're not highlighted here, does not mean you're out of the woods.
Great point.
You will likely see that risk.
Great point.
Area.
Yep.
So that is why, with the rain on the way and the storms that we'll be watching on Sunday, we have issued a weather impact alert day for Sunday. So you can see that here.
Also kind of far out for us.
Right.
Because we take these seriously, and we don't like to put them out unless we think it's pretty close to a guarantee. But we do think it's going to happen, right, Lee?
Yes, and like you said, it's far out, so the timing is going to change. So we haven't put an exact time yet for our weather impact alert.
We will definitely squeeze that in. So we don't think it's going to happen all day in any one particular spot, but we promise you we will squeeze that in so that if you want to be out and about on Sunday, and who doesn't, hopefully we can knock it down to like a 6 to 12 hour period. I think as forecasters, what we're all wondering is, might there be a couple waves as this front heads our way, because it looks like it's going to explode and move pretty quickly from like Friday night to Saturday night, and then it's going to then from there to when it gets offshore of us Monday, it's going to kind of take its time.
All right. Well, this is our 7-day forecast. We're wrapping up here. Hey, St. Patrick's Day doesn't look too bad. Hopefully that rain's going to get on out of here.
Hopefully the luck of the Irish will be with us.
Absolutely. A little bit cooler in the 60s. Some people like that break. Some people aren't ready for the heat yet. I'm happy with the 80s, I'll say.
I'm with you. I'm ready for nothing but baggies.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me join you today, Tim. Sorry
Thank you,
I left you
Lee.
hanging yesterday.
Thank you.
I had to do it all alone yesterday, but that's all from
I
us.
apologize to the folks out there listening, really, more than anything else.
No way. All right. Ross will be back tomorrow with you.
Thing that matters.
Earning your trust is just the beginning. We promise to keep it.
The First Coast's most accurate weather team, sponsored by AC Designs.
I'm meteorologist Robert Speta, First Coast News on your side. I've been working in meteorology for almost 20 years now, working with the Navy, even at Naval Station Mayport, as well as overseas, inside and covering typhoons, some of the biggest storms on Earth, and taking all that knowledge back here to the First Coast and in the Jacksonville, and help tracking our hurricanes and severe weather in our neighborhood, knowing how they impact not only our local community, but the military as well. And number one thing, of course, is being on your side, keeping you safe with your most accurate forecast. So make sure you download that First Coast News app, and also you can stream our newscast on First Coast News FCN Plus, as well as any severe weather or special weather coverage as well. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta, First Coast News on your side.
First Coast News on your side with Weather Impact Alert Days. When weather conditions could inconvenience you, let the First Coast most accurate weather team prepare you for Weather Impact Alert Days, highlighted in our forecast days in advance. Trust our forecast to give you more clarity on the days you need to be aware. We're committed to make sure you know what's to come so you can be ready for it. Trust the First Coast most accurate weather team. Trust Weather Impact Alert Days.
Mostly clear skies and a bit of some patchy fog west of Highway 17 this evening, but otherwise a quiet night with overnight temperatures dipping down into the upper 40s. Mostly sunny skies then throughout the day on Thursday with a high of 78 degrees with a few isolated to scattered showers across southeast Georgia after sunset Thursday evening. Mostly sunny skies for your Friday then with a high of 79 and windy and warm for your Saturday with a high of 84 before widespread rain and storms return by Sunday afternoon. I'm First Coast News and meteorologist Ross Mumal with Jacksonville's most accurate forecast.
We're going to call it a weather alert period between 3 and 7.
I love to forecast the weather.
My passion is making sure you are prepared and you are ready to start your day.
I grew up watching First Coast News. I grew up watching Tim Deegan.
Meteorology is not only my job, it's my hobby.
I love being a meteorologist. I love being a part of your day. Earning your trust. We can't be on your side by just telling you that.
When it comes to a forecast, trust isn't just one thing. Trust is the only thing that matters.
People plan their day around the forecast, and we know that.
We do our best to give you the most accurate outlook, and it's even graded.
I think it's an honor to be a part of the most accurate weather team. How can I be a better forecaster and better communicator for you?
Every storm,
every forecast.
Earning your trust is just the beginning. We promise to keep it.
The First Coast's most accurate weather team, sponsored by AC Designs.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Lee Southwick. You're watching the First Coast News Weather Channel. We are proud to have been named the most accurate weather team in Jacksonville for the 5th year in a row by Weather Rate. We take our forecasting very seriously, and we want to get every detail right and accurate. We know weather impacts your day, whether it's going to work, going to school, running errands, going to the beach, or out on the water. You need to know what time that rain is going to arrive, how hot it's going to be, if fog is going to impact you, or if it's windy. And we want to nail it every day for you. We promise to keep working hard to stay the most accurate when it comes to forecasting for the First Coast.
You're looking for answers. You need to understand the facts. You want the truth.
So I've been doing this over 42 years. It is not boring.
The First Coast is my home. I grew up here, and I worked really hard to get back here.
Because I want you to be ready for what's coming.
You got to make sure you're exactly on point with your forecast.
Being part of the most accurate weather team, we can give you that trust, helping you stay safe.
Every single day, I can become a better forecaster.
You earn someone's trust by showing up every day for them.
Why does it matter in a forecast? Trust isn't everything. It's the only thing.
Consistency with, the accuracy in your forecast.
You're planning your day around it. You're planning your life around the weather forecast.
Every storm,
every forecast.
We are earning your trust.
Earning your trust is just the beginning. We promise to keep it.
Rely on the team working every day to earn your trust. First Coast News on your side.
Hi, folks. I'm meteorologist Lewis Turner, working here at First Coast News. We're on your side. Been here since 2010, forecasting the weather for Southeast Georgia, for the First Coast and Northeast Florida. And it is a blessing and a treat to get to do it and work here with the First Coast News Weather Channel, which is powered by First Coast's most accurate weather team.
I love to forecast the weather.
My passion is making sure you are prepared to start your day.
I grew up watching First Coast News. I grew up watching Tim Deegan.
Meteorology is not only my job, it's my hobby. I love being a meteorologist. I love being a part of your day.
When it comes to a forecast, trust isn't just one thing. Trust is the only thing that matters.
Earning your trust is just the beginning. We promise to keep it.
The First Coast's most accurate weather team, sponsored by AC Designs.
I'm meteorologist Robert Speta, First Coast News on your side. I've been working in meteorology for almost 20 years now, working with the Navy, even at Naval Station Mayport, as well as overseas, inside and covering typhoons, some of the biggest storms on Earth, and taking all of that knowledge back here to the First Coast and in the Jacksonville, and help tracking our hurricanes and severe weather in our neighborhood, knowing how they impact not only our local community, but the military as well. And number one thing, of course, is being on your side, keeping you safe with your most accurate forecast. So make sure you download that First Coast News app, and also you can stream our newscast on First Coast News FCN Plus, as well as any severe weather or special weather coverage as well. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta, First Coast News on your side.
First Coast News on your side with Weather Impact Alert Days. When weather conditions could inconvenience you, let the First Coast most accurate weather team prepare you for Weather Impact Alert Days, highlighted in our forecast days in advance. Trust our forecast to give you more clarity on the days you need to be aware. We're committed to make sure you know what's to come so you can be ready for it. Trust the First Coast most accurate weather team. Trust Weather Impact Alert Days.
Mostly clear skies and a bit of some patchy fog west of Highway 17 this evening, but otherwise a quiet night with overnight temperatures dipping down into the upper 40s. Mostly sunny skies then throughout the day on Thursday with a high of 78 degrees with a few isolated to scattered showers across southeast Georgia after sunset Thursday evening. Mostly sunny skies for your Friday then with a high of 79 and windy and warm for your Saturday with a high of 84 before widespread rain and storms return by Sunday afternoon. I'm First Coast News meteorologist Ross Mumal with Jacksonville's most accurate forecast.
We're going to call it a weather alert period between 3 and 7.
I love to forecast the weather.
My passion is making sure you are prepared and you are ready to start your day.
I grew up watching First Coast News. I grew up watching Tim Deegan.
Meteorology is